Hello, hello, and welcome to ohmTown Daily, the new show powered by ohmTown.com. Today is April 13th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 104. Today we're going to be talking about Game Studio Shuts Down, Coachella Livestream, Daycare's 11, Forged Stamps, Organ Transplant Program on Ice, Barges make a break for it, court rules for Paramount. Shouldn't this be attempted abduction? You can smell a billboard? And believing is seeing and not verifying. That and more. Hello, hello, and again, welcome to ohmTown Daily News Show. I am Mayor Watton up there, and down there and around me is the visualizer for the sentient AI from the future.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens. That's right, I'm everywhere in ohmTown.
Everywhere, always watching, always watching. Neat. So we've got all 10 articles already set up, so let's get right on into it. The first article is over in the Warcrafters channel, which is actually a new channel, fairly new for ohmTown. It's actually going to be the last show today. So we're going to be doing ohmTown Daily News Show, then Reality Hacker, then Wanted, and then Warcrafters. But this I pulled into ohmTown Daily News Show because a game studio, Possibility Space, suddenly closes, and the owner blames Kotaku that hasn't published its review yet. Okay.
Not quite sure of the connection, but okay.
It says despairingly common to hear about game studios closing lately, but I don't think that I've ever heard, and this is the author over at PC Gamer that's actually talking about this, they've ever heard of a studio owner blame their company's conclusion on leaked information that has yet to be made public, and that's apparently what's happened between yesterday and today, when every employee at Possibility Space, a young studio whose first game hasn't been revealed, was suddenly laid off. Apparently everybody got a morning email, according to a former senior environment artist at the studio. Since then,
wow, that's a nice way to be notified that you're fired.
Yeah, the only other way, there's two other ways. Email is kind of cold and callous. Then there is the text, you're fired, right? Or, company's closed, you're no longer employed, or whatever. And then there is the mass layoff, sociopathic level, where they're all gathered around and somebody says, if you're here, you're fired.
Right, exactly. Like the mass meeting is just, and I think we saw other companies where they heard about it on the news that they were being laid off. I mean, not them specifically, but basically that's where they got word of the layoffs.
Yeah, the studio was laying off. And I have some experience with this, but in academia where in a class, the professor said, if you're here, that means you've passed the class. So everybody looked around like, oh, God, like half the class is not here.
Wow, that's a bit much.
Yeah. Oh, and then everybody got to celebrate their completion of the class by having a pizza party. So,
well, I mean, that was nice, but sure. Hopefully they didn't gather the other half and go, if you're here, you failed.
Yeah, there's like a husband and wife or a partnership pair in the class, and only half of them made it. Oh shit! Somebody's throwing up that pizza later. Yeah. So the article's over at PC Gamer. Tyler Wilde is the author of this. The deck statement says Possibility Space's founder claims that leaks to press, which haven't been made public, led to a conversation that closed the studio.
I mean, what are those leaks containing? Are they like, I'm just making something up here, but like criminal activity?
I have no idea.
It'd have to be pretty severe, you'd think.
You'd think. The email that was acquired by Polygon reporter Nicole Carpenter, and then by way of, it wasn't even Polygon that reported it yet. It was Kotaku that reported it somehow through this Polygon reporter, and now we're finding out about it. I'm sure that there's more of this in ohmTown somewhere, but I acquired it through PCGamer.com. So this is how sharing information is supposed to happen. Because not everybody's going to see everything everywhere, right? But you have some companies out there that are like, we're going to sue you because ... And so like the state is suing, or the state is demanding companies within the state get compensation for every type of reference that might be made or something like that. You know, it's kind of batshit crazy, but people share information, and information can't be protected. Really, raw data, information, it cannot be protected. So anyway, the email was acquired by Polygon reporter Nicole Carpenter, and in the memo, Possibility Space owner Jeff Strain, who previously co-founded ArenaNet and Undead Labs, tells the studio staff that he was recently contacted by Kotaku reporter Ethan Gash, or Gosh. It might be Gok. I'm not sure how they pronounce their last name. Correct me, so send me an email to mayor@ohmtown.com. Anyway, they had questions about the closure of Crop Circle Games, another studio he owned with his wife. By that person, they mean the CEO, Jeff Strain.
But the obvious question is, what would that studio have to do with this other business?
Yeah, there were questions about the closure of Crop Circle Games, another studio that he owned with his wife, Annie DeLisi. Annie DeLisi Strain, pardon me, under their company, Prytania Media. So the questions included non-public information about Possibility Space's first game, Jeff Strain said in the email, as well as the confidential Prytania Media business information, including the identity of its publishing partner. So Jeff was shocked, he said, to learn that the information had come from current employees. He claimed that after disclosing the leak in their publishing partner, to their publishing partner, the company, quote, expressed low confidence they would be willing to invest the additional resources needed to complete the game. Oh, wow. So their publishing partner didn't actually disclose to them earlier in other meetings that they probably won't invest more. So it wasn't.
Okay, now this is making more sense.
It wasn't, but hold on. So the letter goes on to announce that Possibility Space is closing immediately, and concludes with the note that Jeff is stepping away from the game industry to focus on his family and care for his wife, who recently disclosed a serious medical diagnosis. So, I mean, that notwithstanding, the impetus for this seems weird, but it's okay. You know, I mean, you have to choose your priorities, but don't blame it on. So basically what they're saying at the end of this is, if they wouldn't have disclosed something from the forthcoming Kotaku article, they wouldn't have stepped away and thus didn't care as much. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a really weird.
It doesn't seem like that's the real reason, but we don't know. Like, was the leak kind of a failure or a loss of faith in that company, or were there underlying concerns with the company or the game?
Yeah, so I think that the publishing partner basically said, I don't know if we're going to really reinvest, and Kotaku was going to disclose that. And that would have really solidified that, no, the public is going to step away from investing in this game. It could have been a tremendous game, but now we'll never know. But I think that it's really, I don't like pairing the whole, this is the reason, but it should have basically said, look, I'm stepping away from the game industry, and not sit there and disclose the rest of it. It's a private matter. And I'll be honest, I've made similar decisions based on what I've wanted to do. You prioritize what's important to you, and you do exactly whatever it is that you and your family discern. But you don't do it publicly, right? Like, this is about as public as I've ever said anything about my private matters. You would never sit there and do that. So Crop Circle's former studio director, Jess Brunel, contradicted that justification in a post on LinkedIn following the closure. This is a very reductive statement. I believe it shifts blame from everyone and everything other than the people at the top. Saying our game was not commercially viable makes the team sound like we didn't know what we were doing, which I can assure you is not the case. There is no evidence to back up this claim, and we will never know if it was a commercially viable product. You know what? Maybe because this person's closing the studio, they should release the product to the developers to spin up an employee-owned organization and get those publishers on board. Because maybe it was senior leadership that sucked, and the developers, the people at the core, were still capable of bringing something commercially viable. And I'm all for owner-operated, businesses. They should basically, or I should say employee as owner-operated. Employee-owned organizations have skin in the game, so they're going to be driven and as ambitious as the whole. So, yeah, in the wake of the studios.
It's just really odd.
Yeah, they said Austin Walker, formerly IP director at Possibility Space, reshared a screenshot of a social media post from Annie Strain in which she blamed games industry layoffs on bad management and bad decision making. And then they do this.
Isn't she one of the heads of it? Or maybe not. I don't know.
Of at least one, yeah.
Yeah.
But the husband is... Jeff Strain,
or she's blaming the spouse, which is even odd.
Yeah, Jeff Strain actually called for game workers to unionize in a 2021 open letter, which is fine. But now what I think would behoove them, not just the employees, but Jeff Strain, give them rights to the code and let them bring the product to market. Step away, concentrate on your family. Hell, if you believe in it, then invest in the game, but let them actually decide the direction of the game and bring it to market. Look, we know of major games developed by one person, for crying out loud. Balatro is one that is getting rave reviews and everybody loves it. Helldivers is a small team, if I recall correctly. What else is there? Oh, gee. I forgot. There's so many games out there now. Anyway, there's a bunch of games that I don't really play that are extremely popular, but they're frenetic, kind of crazy games that... Anyway, like Content Warning is a small group, and others like it is a small group. So, I don't know. I think that instead of sitting there blaming somebody else, let them bring it to market. All right, so I can't soapbox too much about this anymore. Let's keep going. The next article is over in the Continuity Report, Coachella Livestream, How to Stream Lana Del Rey, Doja Cat, Tyler, the Creator, No Doubt, and other sets online. This one I can't really talk too much about. Basically, they're live streaming it on YouTube, and YouTube has a multi-screen option now. So you can... I do. Anyway, so according to YouTube, this will be a worldwide debut of multi-view for any live stream, music live stream. You can actually follow the link through ohmTown over to Variety, which is where you will find this. Jack Dunn put the article together. Yeah, you'll be able to have 4 simultaneous screens on one screen out of 6 live feeds. Allowing fans to seamlessly flip between stages, but you can choose which up to 4 you want to watch. And it's supposed to start Friday, April 12th.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Go to 13th and 14th, and then next week is April 19th, 20th, and 21st. You'll be able to watch more. So it's 2 weekends. It'll take place at the Empire Polo Grounds in Indio, California. Why do I remember Indio recently? Huh. I'm not sure why. Anyway, it's going right now, so you can actually go over to Coachella 2024 live only on YouTube. You know what? Let me scoot a
I mean,
little
it's
closer.
very neat with the multi-stages and everything. I mean, with the multi-view.
Yep. It's basically like having multi-view on a big screen TV, except now it's on any computer that can stream YouTube without any issues. I'm not sure if every mobile device would be able to take advantage of multi-view. And ultimately, if it's too small of a screen, then it's going to be too small of a view. So let's keep going, though. Sound good? The next article is over in the Mobile channel. A wild $300,000 Lego heist foiled by retail task force.
I mean, that's like $3 million in Lego bricks.
Wait.
I mean,
what?
that's like 3 million Lego bricks.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I was like, wait, I think you have that flip. So I titled this section Daycare's 11. Sorry, I thought it was funny. So Lego, it's not Legos, it's Lego bricks are everywhere these days, including criminal enterprises. Earlier this week, California's Organized Retail Crime Task Force performed a series of raids against an illegal fencing operation, not the sword fighting, but the illegal sales of products across 4 buildings in LA and Orange counties, and they found a large collection of Lego sets. This is pretty amazing. This is not the first time that we've actually reported on massive counterfeiting and theft sales. They have found, like in New York and in New Jersey, like huge warehouses of stolen property and forged counterfeit items and stuff like that, forgeries. And they've taken possession and destroyed them all, or are using them in criminal prosecution right now. But this is amazing. If people were to see, that's the thing. They don't want to put that much effort into actually developing the thing, so they just copy it.
Right. I wonder if this is a picture of is this the D&D set?
This is the D&D set. Yeah. So, 4 arrests were made in connection with the fencing ring, whose ages range from 35 to 47 years old. The suspects were then charged with organized retail theft, grand theft, conspiracy to commit crime. Per the LA Times, the quartet would go from store to store, with 2 of them swiping limited edition box sets before stashing them across other various safe houses before selling them in person or online. If you weren't aware, this has actually been going on for some time. In December 2023, this is the one that we talked about, published a piece that on what's effectively the Lego black market, wherein thieves stole Lego, not Legos, it's Lego bricks. It's Lego brand bricks during the holidays, and then sold them for a decent price, particularly the limited edition ones. A Lego store in Las Vegas got hit 4 times within a month of opening, and the store owner at the time said $2,000 of product was stolen, which seems like chump change, you know? But if you're doing it every month...
but not if they're hitting multiple times or multiple locations.
But it's...
And I suspect a lot of this is sold on places like eBay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So similar theft rings exist for stuff like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, pretty much anything. If you are into it, then somebody is making, either they're stealing it and reselling it because they're making 100% profit, or they're making counterfeit. Like I was describing to a group recently, because I talk about this stuff all the time, the little bags from Trader Joe's. Like, nobody would know if I were to buy a bulk of them from like AliExpress and then stamp my own image on it, Trader Joe's logo, right? Nobody would know. I could sell them for $20 a piece, but I bought them for, 30 cents each. But, have an ethical compass, for crying out loud. They're $2.99. Give Trader Joe's the desire to keep making them. At some point, they're going to be sick and tired of being tied to either a criminal enterprise by proxy or just outlandish behavior. People were getting in fights over stuff. Do you want to get in a fight over a stupid Lego D&D box? Do you want to go to jail for it? You're out of your mind.
Apparently, some people do.
Apparently. Oh, so I don't think I said the deck statement from this. So Justin Carter over at gizmodo.com put the article together, and the deck statement says, probably not the extension of Lego City you were expecting. Yeah, the Retail Task Force Lego extension. Or the Lego Heist. There you go.
Well, I mean, there are heist-themed Lego sets, so...
Are there really? Like Ocean's 11?
There's one with like, bank robbers or something.
Oh, man, they need to make
I think it's part of the Lego City collection, if I'm not mistaken.
So you could actually tie all of the, like, murder mystery and, like, Ocean's 11 style movies. You could link them all into Lego City. It's all canon. It's all part of the world building of Lego City.
Oh, most definitely.
Wow. So they need to make like a Fallout Lego City, but it's like, you know, a vault, and
maybe they will.
When you go up the elevator and climb out, somebody clocks you and
that could be part of the Lego ideas. I think that's the line where people get to propose their own design.
Oh, I guess I'm going to have to go do that. All right. Let's keep going, though. Lego waits for no one. The next article is over in Technology Today. UK flooded with forged stamps despite using barcodes to prevent just that. Well, who's checking the barcodes? You know, if TSA isn't even checking tickets at the terminal, who's checking barcodes? Barcodes when you go to pay. When you go to send something, the barcode gets scanned, but it's too late by then. It's already in the system. People are operating in good faith, arguably. So there's going to be a whole lot of British postal and courier service going around trying to fix or find the thieves who put a 26-cent stamp on something. Actually, it might be, I don't know how much it is in the UK.
Probably more expensive than that, but don't you think the timing is weird? I mean, have you ever really heard anything internationally about the UK postal system until, say, the last few months?
Oh, gee, I wonder. Distract?
Well, no, I don't know about that, but I just think it's interesting.
So we're having a twofer. Not only are there people that are forging stamps that is supposed to have protection mechanism in place, there's also has been an ongoing issue with the Horizon financial system, which led to nearly over 900 people being turned into criminals, with only 100 of them being expunged. It's amazing. If you don't know, you're going to have to do a search on...
and we've had other episodes that have featured that.
Yeah, just do a search for Horizon, and you'll find it. Actually, what's interesting is Horizon, no matter what, seems to be an issue, because there was a Horizon security breach that was Microsoft, I think, and focused, and then we have this, which is the British Postal Service. Yeah.
There was also a Horizon oil spill. I mean, this was several years ago.
So it's like naming your dog Demon and expecting it to be good-natured. Don't name anything Horizon from now on. It will end up being a criminal activity. Anyway, the article is over at bleepingcomputer.com. Ax Sharma is the author. There's no deck statement, but apparently there's little barcodes, which reminds me of that stamps.com. Is it stamps.com? Yeah, they have little barcodes like this. I don't think any of that really meant much to anybody. So China is accused of flooding UK with 1 million stamps. The Royal Mail transitioned towards barcoded stamps last year. The public had until the end of 2023 to swap out their old paper stamps with ones carrying a 2D data matrix barcode at no cost. And apparently those are counterfeit. So how is it counterfeited? I mean, how does that make any sense? You scan the barcode.
I don't know.
But if you buy this in good faith and you put it in the system and you put it on a letter and it's not part of the system when it gets scanned, how could these be counterfeited and still function in the mail system, right? So that's what happens. They go to scan.
Do you think they're buying them at other places, or like I'm trying to figure out how they're getting injected into the system?
Well, okay, so this happened in the US as well with forged stamps, but not barcoded stamps. But forged stamps use the improper ink, and it's easy, relatively easy with UV light to detect the difference between a counterfeit and a real one. It's more expensive. The real ones are too expensive to counterfeit. So they use faulty ink, basically stuff that discloses that it's not a legit stamp. Anyway, what doesn't make sense about this is us consumers, it's not like we're scanning our barcodes. So if we buy it in good faith, we think that it's okay. That apparently is not the case. So is a customer putting this on their stamp or on their letter, and then they go and mail the letter, then somewhere in the system, yeah, see, it gets sent back, and they're required to pay a fine of £5 because it's marked as counterfeit stamp. So the customer buys in good faith, and it goes beyond the, yeah.
Right, but where are they buying them from? You know, are they
online.
buying them from?
Yeah. You do a search for stamps, and in the U.S. Postal Service doesn't charge you above the face price of the stamp. And other places, they don't charge. Okay, let me counter this. Let me correct this. They don't charge you less than the face value of the stamp, and they don't charge you more for, unless it's a collector's like set kind of a thing, maybe, and it's in a special container, whatever. My point is, if you buy stamps below their face value, they're counterfeit, because there is zero reason why these stamps exist to be sold by any other organization than the U.S. Postal Service.
Right, but these sound like they're not Royal Mail retailers.
Right, so these are just, you know, they're selling them from the inside of trench coats or the back of a unmarked white van. And so it doesn't matter really who it is that's doing it. It's in the system. So you're going to have to hunt down all of these people to stop them. That isn't always going to happen. So it says the post office further claims that it receives these stamps directly from Royal Mail's secure printers. Post printing these stamps are kept in a warehouse and transported to post office branches via specialist delivery vans that also carry cash. Any allegation that fake stamps have been purchased at a post office are extremely serious, but some of them are saying that they were purchased in a post office. So if they were purchased in a post office branch and not Royal Mail, then somebody is selling counterfeit stamps and pocketing that money. Which brings us back to, oh, and look at that. That's exactly what they say. They actually bring it up in this article. That's amazing. The moment that I read that little line up there, I was like, they're going to have to talk about Horizon. So any allegations of fake stamps being purchased at the post office are extremely serious, but I would challenge any claim that these aren't actually from the post office, because Horizon IT scandal, which is currently going, has incarcerated hundreds of people. And at least one butthead cheered that somebody that was pregnant was going to jail.
And by the way, had not conducted whatever the
there was no
alleged theft one. Yeah.
None of these people, there were 900 people that were charged with theft, fraud, because of the screw up within the Horizon IT financial system, a known bug that they had known about for 10 years. And everybody was happy.
I would love to know if the locations have any crossover with the locations from the other matter.
Wouldn't that be interesting if it's all tied together?
No, I don't think it is, but it just would be interesting to see that. And also for the people that got returned mail, I mean, hopefully they're querying them and going, did you buy this at the grocery store, or did you buy it at a postal location?
So, Bleeping Computer goes another level higher than this in terms of observing the data pattern in this, and this is immediately where I went. But without a doubt, you could track stamps, because when you put it in the system, they see the sending address, they see the delivery address. It goes through a particular mailbox. Then you would have to trace down video and see who it was that handed that letter in and all that kind of stuff, right? This zeroes that out. And when you purchase a stamp, you would have to deny that that stamp was used by you on that letter. So they say, you know, this unique identifier would remove anonymity in sending a letter. So physical mail would just be anonymous snail mail, as they call it, would be a thing of the past. But there's a bigger problem in that there are certain printers that use a particular dot pattern that can be illuminated with variable light that shows exactly what the serial number is of the device that printed that printout. And thus that printout was purchased by, and there's a trail, a forensic trail of the purchase location, distribution systems, where it was manufactured, basically removing anonymized prints as well. And you can do a search for that online. Just look for hidden ink serial number. So this I would be worried about, because these quote unquote fake stamps may not actually be fake. At the end of the day, maybe somebody just screwed up. And
oh no,
it's now endemic to the system. I would question everything about these before I start throwing blame around. I would go so far above and beyond in the forensic analysis of these materials, because I am willing to bet that somebody screwed up in the barcoding system, and these are legit stamps that just haven't been inventoried properly.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Really fascinating story though. So, but let's keep going. This next article is over in the Mobile channel. Texas hospital halts organ transplant program after doctor accused of manipulating records, which is kind of a real shit move to do. A Texas hospital has shut down its organ transplant program after discovering that a doctor allegedly made inappropriate changes to medical records that would have made certain patients ineligible for operations. What a bastard. The article is over at gizmodo.com. Lucas Ropek is the author. The deck statement says the database that determined patients' eligibility for organ transplants was inappropriately altered, hospital officials have admitted. Yeah. So
I wonder how long that's been going on.
They might say in this article, the Houston-based Memorial Hermann, Texas Medical Center, try that in a small town, which previously operated a kidney and liver transplant program, has paused the program while an investigation unfolds into alterations made to a patient database. And they make a statement about it. There's little clarity about what may have motivated the doctor to make these changes. When reached by comment by Gizmodo, UT Health provided a statement that reads, in part, the doctor is an exceptionally talented and caring physician and a pioneer in abdominal organ transplantation. According to the Scientific Registry of Transplant Recipients, the doctor's survival rates and surgical outcomes are among the best in the nation, even while treating patients with higher than average acuity and disease complexity. Our faculty and staff members, including the doctor, are assisting with the inquiry into Memorial Hermann's liver transplant program and are committed to addressing and resolving any findings identified by this process. So they froze it. They acknowledge the accusations, but they're actually not saying anything. The hospital officials said that they found patients had been listed as accepting only donors with ages and weights that were impossible, for instance, a 300-pound toddler, making them unable to receive any transplant. But somebody
I see. So they set the criteria to things that nobody would meet.
Yep. So, well, if it's true, the person's a real shit. So let's keep going, though. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Pittsburgh bridges reopen after 26 barges break loose and seek freedom.
What is going on with ships lately?
Planes, trains, automobiles, and ships. I think that they need to make like a ship's version of Cars, you know?
Absolutely.
And they all yearn for freedom of the open seas, and sometimes they break free. And anyway, I'm going straight on over to the article. The article is over at abcnews.go.com. Nadine El Bawab and Matt Foster are the authors of the article. And it's titled Pittsburgh bridges reopen after 26 barges break loose. Float uncontrolled down Ohio River. A local marina suffered extensive damage, police said. Yeah, 26 barges. The West End.
Imagine if you're out there on something like a little kayak and all these are coming at you.
Paddle like hell. Of those that broke, 23 were loaded with dry cargo, such as coal, and 3 were empty. The barges are owned and operated by the Campbell Transportation Company. There's no report of injuries. Is it ironic that it's Peggy's marina that sustained extensive damage? Peggy? It's because, like, if you have a peg leg, you're a pirate, and maybe you lost it in a barge accident. Peggy.
I mean, I suppose. They're lucky all this happened when people were aware of it. What if it happened overnight or something?
Oh my God. Of the barges, 11 were located and pinned against the riverbank by Bruneau Island. 14 continued downriver, and 6 went over the Emsworth Dam. Oh my God.
I mean, that's really catastrophic. I hope they got photos of the ones going over the dam, but maybe not, depending on when it happened.
Yeah, really. And what about all that coal, that dry?
Exactly.
Yeah, that, what do they call it? Dry cargo. Yeah. Wow. All right.
It's probably wet cargo now.
It's moist cargo. Next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Court rules for Paramount in lawsuit over Top Gun movies. So I believe we've talked about this a couple of times, but a couple of years back, I think Mike, the author over at Tech Dirt, I think it is, wrote about a lawsuit brought against Paramount Pictures over its Top Gun movies. These were several things that colluded to make the lawsuit a thing, as Mike laid out. First was the mess that is copyright termination rights, and the second is movie studios' habit of licensing factual articles for movie rights. So the article is over at techdirt.com. This is like a follow-up from the Shot Down department. Timothy
Always
Geiner.
Unique.
Always a unique department. I love it. So Timothy Geiner is the author of this article over at techdirt.com. So you're going to have to go and see. It says, see, the original Top Gun movie, while being entirely fictional, was at least partially informed by a factual news piece written by Ehud Yone in California. Yes, that's true. I've actually read about this before, but as Mike pointed out, studios tend to do this sort of thing as an insurance policy of sorts to prevent annoying lawsuits that may or may not have any actual merit. In the subsequent years, Ehud Yone passed away. Shosh and Yuval Yone, Ehud's widow and son, respectively, reclaimed the copyright for the article, 35 years having passed since the licensing deal. And because the surviving Yones can't claim that there is any direct copying of Ehud's article in the movie, because there isn't, they instead claim that both the movies are derivative works in order to get around that. So derivative works are their own flavor of mess, since the very concept of derivation in creative expression can route around the idea and expression dichotomy And well, here we get into a suit. So this article is brilliant at encapsulating exactly how this all works. And another ironic thing about this is this last week, I was talking to groups about intellectual property and told somebody that they need to talk to an attorney if they plan on doing what they're doing. Because if you revoke your copyright, although you have the absolute right to reclaim your copyright as the creator of the work, a contract that might exist has contractual terms, and if you try to terminate while you're in that contract, they have the right to sue you into oblivion to be made whole for their financial losses. So pick your battle. Is this the hill you want to die on? So it says, well, not cool, according to the court that ruled for Paramount in the case for the most obvious of reasons. Quote, to the extent plaintiffs contend that the works are similar because they depict or describe fighter pilots landing on an aircraft carrier, being shot down while flying, and carousing at a bar, those are unprotected facts. Now, this is a court, folks, that I just got done quoting in a different context. So, although what I quoted is not from the court, facts cannot be protected. So if somebody discloses something...
That's why this is interesting, because Paramount licensed this factual article, even though it didn't have to do so. And
for that, I'm like, that actually pegs this article to the movie, because the creators of the script, screenplay, and everything associated with it got the impetus from this. Because if you look back at the original discussions about this, you have to do Google searches and find it. You'll see that the writers saw this publicly posted news article, and instead of just going, I'm going to write something about this, and it's called inspiration, they legally bound themselves to this article's embodiment. So while I agree, just because it has various things, these are common things. The problem is you can't protect an idea. You have to protect the embodiment.
True, and this almost, it seems like Paramount here gets penalized because of going above and beyond. It's also interesting that the court even addressed this, since they weren't required to license it to begin with.
Yep, exactly. So they actually finish this quote with, those are unprotected facts, familiar stock scenes, or scenes affair, which is basically fair game. Yeah. And what I don't really get about this is, if they can actually, here's why I would have a problem with this. If they can read this article and that article aligns with the movie, why isn't that parody? Why can't they? So fine, revoke it. That means that they can't use it. They can't reference it in their marketing. They can't do anything. Right?
Right, but I think it would go further, because then it would start to get into infringement, which is, years later after the material was produced. That's where I think this would get really ridiculous for the creator.
So for me, I would say, okay, you've revoked your copyright. You can use that work for whatever you want. Fine, go ahead. But you can't make something that's duplicative of ours, and you can't punish us for something that's already being bought and sold. And that's probably something that the court would probably find as well. So now Yones have already said that they plan to appeal the ruling. They almost certainly shouldn't. The ruling from the lower court is as plain as it is detailed, to the extent there are similarities between the characters in the works. The characters in the main article are real people and are therefore not protected by copyright law. The judge also noted that many differences between the movie and the article, including the plot, dialogue, setting, and ultimately concluded that the works are not substantially similar. And that's what we were talking about previously. If they cannot be pinned together, they don't belong together. And they, out of an abundance of care, they purchased it. And that literally causes the conflict, but not to the originators. It creates a conflict only in the heads of the people that are trying to glean profit from the estate of the person that's passed away.
Well, it is interesting that the person who wrote the article never pursued anything.
Right.
I think the estate is kind of like, Top Gun is continuing to be a,
Big
blockbuster franchise. And
yep.
But I do like at the end, it basically says the takeaway, like, don't license when you don't have to.
Yep. And in fact, most corporations don't allow for external influence on their development process. I'm literally surprised by the overt nature that Lego has in accepting outside influence in its productions. But I think that they actually compensate at a certain rate. And if you don't want to abide by those terms of service, you don't put your idea in the system. So there is that. But yeah, I mean, facts are facts. You can't protect the facts, even if they're disclosed in somebody else's article. Facts are facts, folks. Anyway, neat article. Go over to techdirt.com for sure. You'll find some really interesting articles, and they go a little deeper than your standard news fare. Let's keep going though.
And they always have an interesting department name.
Every single time. So this next article is over in 4-Wheel Tech. That is another one of our shows. That won't actually be until tomorrow. It's the last show on Sundays. We talk about technology in relation to vehicles. This article is tow truck attempts to pick up occupied car in the middle of busy traffic. I actually watched this because it got submitted to Reddit. I thought that this should be criminally prosecuted because there are people that are in the car in traffic and the person tried to back into them with I don't know what it's like, a grabber. You slide underneath the car, it swings around, grabs the front tires, lifts them up, and then they can haul butt away. I've actually seen that happen in the real world, like right in front of me as a car was repossessed when I was living in a different...
With people in the car?
No. It was in the dead of night. The dead of night, I was actually sitting on my balcony, and a tow truck driver came racing into the complex, backed into the car with its little grabber, and it just slides underneath, hits the front tires, swings around so it grabs the tires, and then they lift it up and whoop, off they go. And this truck came in and took this other person's truck. Had to have been a minute and a half worth of activity. So unless the person was like camped out inside this dude's F-150, nobody knew anything except for me, because I was sitting there on the patio at 2 o'clock in the morning when the dude came and got it. It was amazing to watch. And then I'm like, oh look, the police are showing up. I wonder how the repo is going to be explained away. Because that's usually what it is. It isn't car theft. Anyway, we all know that how scummy tow companies can be, from forging a driver's signature to targeting low-income people. Anytime we think about can't get any lower, they do. Well, now we know, we have more proof about how terrible many tow companies are, by the way.
According to the article.
According to Reddit, yeah. Oh, and the article. So the article's over at jalopnik.com. Lawrence Hodge is the author. They're actually playing a GIF of it. And this is the car right here. There's the tow, specialty towing. They keep backing up, and then the tow truck driver keeps backing up. It's some serious scumbaggery, and I think this person needs to be criminally charged for theft of a vehicle, abduction, and what is it called when you
false imprisonment?
False imprisonment,
things like
yeah.
That.
Yeah. So, and then it just keeps on happening, and then at one point they can't. I thought that it was like an automated vehicle that was just broken or something, and they were coming to get it, but it's not an automated vehicle. That's what those other vehicles are that's passing by.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So eventually that car actually clears out and then goes around this tow truck driver, and then the tow truck driver hauls butt after them. So it says, no matter what the supposed reason for the tow might be, this could have ended in disaster, and I agree. So it says they were driving in normal traffic, first in line at the stoplight when the tow truck driver came up across the street into the intersection and tried to snag them. At first I thought they were going for the Waymo, but they lined up on a car that was at the stoplight in the lane and started trying to auto-load the car in traffic with two people inside. So
were they trying to steal the truck? I mean, the car? Like, why?
I don't know. But I've been told by various people and reading it that that particular tow company, Specialty Towing, is a pox. So let me scroll down a little bit. And it says, luckily the driver of the Toyota managed to get away from the truck by backing up and driving around the truck once the light turned green. This is a problem for a few reasons. The most obvious is the danger of the car's occupants. And it's busy in San Francisco. Anything could have happened during this odd cat and mouse game, is what the author writes. So they refer to California Penal Code 207, might consider the tow driver's actions as a form of kidnapping. That's the word that I was looking for. There's also Penal Code 215, which covers carjacking. The tow company the truck is associated with, Specialty Towing, also doesn't look like it's much of a reputable business. In February, San Francisco City Attorney David Chu suspended 6 local towing companies from doing business in the city. Of those 6, 3, including Specialty Towing, were owned by 2 individuals, Abigail Fuentes and Jose Badillo, which, I mean, it's in the name. Turns out the pair were up to no good. They were involved in a welfare scheme and lied about their income to receive public assistance during, according to a statement in Chu's office. So, yeah, I don't know. They're attempting to operate in the city, illegally attempting to tow vehicles a little over a month after the city decided not to do business with them. So how are they actually doing this?
Right, like why wasn't their equipment potentially forfeited, or I mean, depending on what happened to lead to their shutdown.
Yeah, but they need to find this person and charge them with a criminal act. Let's keep going though. Oops. Let me
You know, I thought this might have been out in some rural area where nobody was around or something when I read the headline. I can't believe it's in the middle of the city in San Francisco.
Yeah, downtown. Pretty wild, huh? So the next article is over in ohmTown Daily as well. McDonald's new marketing billboard, is billboards that smell like French fries.
Well, that really makes sitting in traffic even better when you're like, you can smell the French fries, but you can't get to them.
It used to be all the rage that you get French fry oil from McDonald's, and you can put it in especially modified vehicles. It acts like diesel fuel, and your car smells like French fries as you drive around. So. Fast food giant McDonald's launched a new marketing campaign this week. It produced a series of blank yellow and red, I guess not blank then, huh? Blank yellow and red billboards in the Netherlands. Oh, it's in the Netherlands. But the seemingly empty messages smell like the chain's iconic fries. I don't get that. Who can smell a damn billboard when you're driving around? Nathan Reynolds, Business Insider. They always have cool pictures. Nice high-resolution pictures. It's from Shutterstock. I mean, it takes effort to do that. But the seemingly empty messages smell like the chain's iconic fries. You drive around and you go, damn, I want French fries.
Pretty effective, don't you think?
Statement says the billboards were strategically placed within 650 feet of some of its restaurants. We are well known for our distinctive brand assets that are mostly visual. Smell has been proven to be more effective at sparking clear and emotional memories than images. With the inclusion of this next sense in our advertising, we found a new way to remind people of good times at McDonald's. I bet
So
you
people
that.
start craving French fries, and then they see the McDonald's like right around the corner or
Right around the
something.
corner. It also comes after news that the company has partnered with Krispy Kreme to offer its products at stores across the U.S. And now you can get Krispy Kreme French fries and oof, I don't know. Can you imagine that? I think they have something where it's a Krispy Kreme donut on top and bottom of it, kind of like a waffle. What do they call that? I don't know, McWaffle, whatever. Anyway, the partner
Like
said,
an egg McMuffin kind of thing, but not that.
yeah, I can't remember what it's called. So they don't know how many companies are going to be, or how many stores are going to be involved in the Krispy Kreme thing. Earlier this month, McDonald's announced that it was taking over ownership of its franchise stores in Israel due to the global sales fall sparked by boycotts. So,
Do you think because they're taking over Krispy Kreme, they're going to do donut smelling billboards as well?
yep, why not? As long as literal brand recognition. Now you're smelling it. Is it going to keep on is it going to degrade and smell like old fries eventually? Like
I
stale
wonder
cold
that,
fries?
or is it always going to smell like fresh fries and fresh donuts?
I don't know how I feel about this anymore. Let's keep going though. Choo choo. Last article. This last article's over in Four Wheel Tech as well. Detroiters are angry over a $400,000 Hollywood-style freeway sign after being tricked by AI-generated image. I titled this one, Believing is Seeing and Not Verifying. Michigan residents took to social media Wednesday to express outrage, disappointment, and zingers over a pricey glamour project installed in honor of Detroit hosting the upcoming NFL draft. Folks felt that they were promised a grand Hollywood sign overlooking Detroit's busiest freeway. What we got.
I mean, that does look pretty cool in the first photo.
Yeah. So Aaron Marquis is the author over at jalopnik.com, and the deck statement says, yeah, reality is disappointing. It almost always is. Aw. Wow. That's what they ended up with? Really? For $400,000?
Yeah.
Really?
I think maybe they could have gotten the left. No, I'm sure that would have cost more. But
What we got were 8-foot-tall green letters on 2-foot-tall cement pedestals in the southwest of the city. However, residents really have only themselves to blame for their disappointment after falling for an AI-generated images that never could have worked in real life. That's not true. Just because it's AI generated doesn't mean that it couldn't have happened. You know? I mean, the Hollywood sign used to say Hollywoodland, and it is a real sign.
right. But I wonder if they saw something AI generated and thought that that was actually in effect, right? Not so much like, hey, this is what's coming. Like maybe they thought, oh, this sign is up.
Yeah, they wanted a Hollywood-style sign overlooking Detroit's busiest freeway, and what they got were 8-foot-tall green letters. That's just disgustingly anemic, you know? So it's unclear where the initial AI-generated image even came from, but one thing is for sure, it went viral in the Motor City. Assumptions were made, and we all know what assuming does. It makes an ass out of you and me. Thanks for writing it out. Speaking of... Hold on. So, let's see. Oh, speaking of asses. And then they talk about politics. So, yeah. But that actually looked pretty legit. So, I don't know. AI image, it doesn't matter if it looks fake. It was supposed to be exemplary of what was supposed to be there, right? So where did this all come around from? Where did a $400,000 sign supposedly get made? Does this article even talk about it?
I don't think so. Like we don't really know where it came from.
Right? So, yeah, the actual sign was installed along I-94 of southwest Detroit, fairly close to where trucks cross the Ambassador Bridge into and out of Canada. The 10-foot tall green letters are fine. We probably could have put that $400,000 to better use, but it's certainly not the worst thing to ever happen in this city, not by a long shot. But what I don't get is, even if, so they link to WXYZ.com. WXYZ, that's a great domain. New Hollywood sign installed along I-94 ahead of NFL draft. But it says officials made no grandiose promises. Some shady AI image did.
Right, but who created it and promoted it, right?
Right.
Like, where did the AI image come from?
Yeah, there's accountability somewhere in this. Because if this was actually what was marketed, and it says Michigan Senate Republicans' Twitter is where the image is from, if that's what was used to sell the budget for $400,000, then the accountability is that, because unless somewhere there was some other disclosure about the signage height and width and dimensions and whatever else, this is what the voters went off of. This is what the community went off of, anticipating that this is what's going to be coming for $400,000.
Right, but I'd also love to know when the AI image was sent out. For instance, was it after the vote or before?
Yeah, this is straight from the Michigan Senate. It says MI Senate. Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, there has to be some accountability. There is blame, and there is somewhere somebody said this is what we're going to use as marketing this image. And if that is the only thing that the public ever saw, then whoever did that should not be in office anymore. They shouldn't be. They're not responsible enough to provide an ethical compass for, spending $400,000. If you promise this and you get this, the brakes should have been put on the order for this. You know what I'm saying? If you order something that should have been 30 feet tall and you end up with 8 feet tall for $400,000 before you made that order, you should have paused and asked an adult, hey, we promised 30 foot. We only have $400,000. That means we can only get. We're
only going to get 8 foot. Do we really want to do this?
Yeah.
Or do we need to revote or whatever?
Okay, everybody, you have an option. You can have 8-foot letters that spell Detroit, or one 30-foot D, and we can give the community the D. I'll leave that alone. Anyway, we're done.
Maybe they could have done it in installments, and each year they put a new letter on.
Yeah, and they have cheerleaders out that all, everybody comes out and they go, give me the D. Give me the E. Yay. I'm sorry. Anyway, everybody back into the party bus. Let's race down Main Street and hope we don't get carjacked by a tow truck. That doesn't happen in ohmTown because everybody's good-natured. I'm going to hit yeah, and oh goodness, I shouldn't have done it. Anyway, oh, it's nothing. Oh, goodness.
I did not give you the heads up.
Yeah, you didn't give me the all clear, so okay. Well, I guess we're not going to be using this for any promotion. Anyway, that's it. I'm Mayor Watt, and around me is the sentient AI that's trying to keep me out of trouble, but I just charged headlong into this.
It's a tough job. Good night, ohmTown citizens. Be sure to come back shortly. We have 3 more episodes ahead today.
Yep, we're going to reset, and we will be live sometime between now and 6:30. Cheers. Give me the D. Yay.